All right. This is your host for the most of the time here in sunny side Dubai. Sunny is not happening. It's not cloudy. It's raining quite a bit. And just got some videos from some of our Web3 friends who are done pretty well, but their real estate portfolio is not doing well as most of their real estate is submerged partially. I wish I could show the videos over here, but it's crazy. But then again, crypto, blockchain, Web3 moves forward. Whether we go bulls and bears, doesn't matter. We keep moving forward. But that being the case, the reason I'm here, the reason I have a special guest is through one of my previous guests, Vikram from Hypersign. So he told me, hey, bro, you got to talk to him. So, of course, no question asked, say less when we're doing it. Before we dive into the nitty gritty of crypto, blockchain, Web3, sir, welcome to the Society X YouTube channel.
Awesome. It's great to be here. Would love, after all this hot in the token 2049 week in Dubai, as well as the rains, and it's still actually happening.
I know, right?
Would love to share how exactly Turf evolved and what has been my journey as well as a founder.
Sure. All right. Okay, that's cool. I'll tell you what. For me, I'm a little bit selfish, so I want to know, your origin story into this wild space of crypto, blockchain, Web3. So please formally introduce yourself and your origin story.
Sure. This is Dibyo, and I'm the founder of Turf Gaming, and I have been in this industry and that's where everything started. I started as a core developer, now to an entrepreneur. I shift more than 3 products, and so my transition has been very much different in terms of, hey, let's start coding. Hey, what's Bitcoin? But I didn't had the money to have much of Bitcoin. To now to a space where, yeah, we now know how to ride the market, right? So it has been a different haul. Everything I have seen, mostly everything. Once I believe that a founder or an entrepreneur who has ridden a single cycle as well, he knows what's inside and how exactly to survive in this market. That's where my journey started. My previous venture was called, and I was core DeFi maxi. I was more into how exactly I can bring more liquidity, thinking about volume, thinking about fundraise for different products. So we built a single asset liquidity provisioning and all these stuff. But now after our exit in the last year, we had spent a fair amount of time understanding the market and approaching it from the use case point of view. And that's where we had an experience around gaming, and we came around, hey, there is a huge gap that like Web3 gaming is booming, right? And especially the whole gaming industry is booming. We tried thinking out loud how exactly we can provide value to all these games as well as the gamers that are out there, and at the same time be big in the industry. So that's where we have been seeing pretty much big solutions like gaming challenger mode, where they do competition for big games. And the fun part is they only do competitions for big games, right? And there are more than 70 games that are getting created here by big studios, and they don't have the exposure of the competitive crowd that are localized in other countries, let's say in India or in the Middle East, or let's say in the Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
The reason we got depth, right? Why exactly this is happening? Like, why don't small games have the ability to capture the competitive excellence and be in the top 10? So there was a centralized barrier in terms of all these companies not actually accepting them for hosting their competitions, or they charge a very huge amount, right?
Yeah.
That's where the ideation came in. We thought, hey, there are a lot of esports organizations and communities that are out there in India and all those spaces where the game developers don't trust all these guys, hey, with their money as well as with their community. So we thought, why don't we bring a layer of trust and a way for them to collaborate? That's where we as Turf took the origin, like you can think of it, the origin story of how Turf started. And we figured out, yeah, we can be a layer which can enable all the games that are getting curated to have the competitive exposure of the whole world, where all the games that are getting developed don't have to trust that third party organization or esports organization to host their competition, and they don't have to trust with their money, and at the same time they leverage their community. Turf as such is an on-demand esports facilitation platform that is making sure that all the games get the same level of competitive excellence globally and have access to all the esports organizations that are there every corner of the world. We are creating a distribution that can be leveraged by the games and any gaming platforms to go to the market and like literally bring engagement to their games. yeah, that's a bit about what turf is.
Oh, cool. No, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I like that you're talking about the gaming side of things. Definitely, I guess in our space, it is one of the strong leading narratives compared to say like RDEP or I don't know, I guess some other stuff. But in terms of gaming, I think gaming has the potential to onboard a lot of people into a particular industry or use different products. And also as a ways, it's also been influential in creating new cultures and stuff. Like when I think of Counter Strike or I don't know, you can tell I'm sounding old right now, but it does. How do you say create a stronger bonds, stronger communities and stuff. So I'm curious about like some of these gaming communities. Now, are you just focusing just anywhere globally, or is it just, or you're looking at gaming like in India and Southeast Asia, which I believe that there's a lot of gaming action going on, and also maybe Saudi Arabia as well, as far as my knowledge is concerned. So maybe I'm sure I have some big gaps, but please fill it in.
Yeah, sure. Our pure focus, as I can say, right, I mentioned that I want to create a distribution of the esports communities all across the world. So that I'll tell you one thing. This whole gaming industry is divided into 4 segments, right? First segment is the indie game developers or the IP holders. The next segment is the publishers, right? And the third segment is the distributors, and the fourth segment.
I see the streamline. Okay, spectrum. Okay, cool.
Obviously, the developers are responsible for creating the game, then the publisher is responsible for taking the game to the market, and the distributors are the ones who distribute it to the bigger audience. You can think of as a technology, we are leveraging blockchain ecosystem, the blockchain Web3 primitives to have the distribution in a global space. So that exactly, that's where we are different from most of the distributors. Let's say you can think of the e-gaming or centralized parties are there. One of the crucial problem, if you see that all these small esports organizations that we are dealing with they are literally having 50,000 to 100,000 gamer community who are playing competitions daily, engaging in their community, but they don't have the level of recognition. At the same time, they don't have the level of an organizational structure where they can scale globally, right? Even a lot of communities are held by college students and all who don't care about creating an organization and scale it globally, and they don't have the ability. So that's where, so 2 things. First is the trust, and the next thing is the payment infrastructure. I'm pretty much damn sure you got why exactly we're leveraging gen technology in our use case. We are specifically targeting a few regions, starting from India because we knew the market very well. Right now, we are working with 10 plus esports organizations. Afterwards, obviously, the main region as such, Saudi Arabia is actually leading in terms of acquiring all the sports organizations right now, and they are focusing around how exactly they can bring value to the whole competitive landscape. And afterwards, there is Brazil, then South Korea, well as the Southeast Asian region. These are our targets to scale our network in a way that every game does get the right kind of gamers who are engaging in their platform, right? Not just yield farmers. So if you see why we are existing, even if there are a lot of companies that are user acquisition platforms, we are not a user acquisition platform. We are an user engagement platform. And our focus is right now to go global and create the distribution in a way that we can create a network effect in terms of more sports organizations coming in that yields more games to trust on our layer and leverage the communities, and more game comes in, so more sports organizations gain, hey, there are more prize pools, I can actually engage my community right away by leveraging the infrastructure. Why don't I be a part of it? So we are in a hall to create a network effect here and scale this whole industry globally. Like I would say if we can achieve this, it will be a disruption in the esports industry as a whole, because 60% of the industries in the esports economy is held, it's fragmented, it's unorganized, and people don't know about it. If we can solve it with basically, it will be a disruption and exploration of a new category of collaboration, which can literally showcase how useful this blockchain technology can be, which for this use case specific.
No, this is fascinating. Yeah, because I know like people are aware of esports, but in terms of like the nitty gritty in terms of dealing with various communities. Yeah, because I love that you mentioned about engagement. So it's not just user acquisition, but it reminds me of the statement of the attention economy. Yeah, the 50% of the battle is getting attention, and the next 50% is trying to maintain that attention. Because it's quite interesting to see for me just learning about esports and how it's growing, how big it is. Because I know that some of the companies over here, not in the Web3, but just regular companies, they are looking into esports and they see see they're surprised to learn that esports, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the global esports industry is way bigger than Hollywood and the music industry and
Actually,
maybe some sports teams combined. It's humongous, but it's fragmented at the same
yeah.
time. That's to me, it's like crazy. Would that be
Yeah.
correct? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with the statement because if you see the entertainment industry as having a very big chunk, but gaming is overtaking it just because most of the storytelling right now is getting done through games, basically. So I was listening to
True.
the
Yeah.
Prince of Arabia, and the one thing that they are very much focusing on telling the story of Arab, right, to the whole world through games. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things that they are very much focusing on. And
Yeah, I can see that, man. Yeah.
yeah, and that's where I would say that net and all these platforms who are specific to entertainment videos, they are getting into an interactive video segment, right? So where you have to, let's say, what if, let's say, I'll take a use case, right? Tomorrow you are seeing a whole movie and you are forgetting that, right? And you're reading a story and you're forgetting that. But if you are actually playing that story, you're moving around, and it's
Yeah.
the gameplay that's telling you the story, it hits you. Like as a gamer and as a person, like
Yeah.
in your early days,
Agree.
I personally know the whole story of Prince of Persia because I lived that and played multiple times, right?
Yeah.
So that's true. Like entertainment industry is anyway taking over. Like means gaming is taking over the entertainment industry, as in
Yeah.
movies and all these things.
Totally.
And the competition plays a crucial role in terms of actually bringing the excellence in the industry. And what I believe, going to the roots, whatever competition brings the core and showcases the ability of the industry. As such, take it anything. I used to study just because I had to compete with the other guys. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just because people are teaching us very or something like that, but
Yeah.
competition played a huge role in my life. So same for the gaming.
Yeah, and it's like the earliest primitive form of gamification, compete and
Mhm.
learn and stuff. But just to go back to like Saudi Arabia, they are getting into like the gaming stuff, and I can see why though, because is that other point you mentioned about how you're so familiar with the story of Prince of Persia. For me, for example,
Mhm.
like in college, man, I loved Halo. I loved the storyline, man. Like even also some other games like Dawn of War and like these, or say Warcraft or something like that. Like just it's like really cool storyline, and from the game itself, it has such a strong storytelling narrative that it has been captured by also Hollywood as well too. Now, what Hollywood did with some of these games or whatever, not to dive into the political stuff, but it's crazy. But then again, it shows how powerful it is because, for example, you look at some of the Battlefield games and stuff like they used to portray Russians and Arabs as terrible people or something like that, or people from the East and stuff. Is this communist empire or something like that? And America's land of free, home of the brave. It has a really strong control, and I see that in my friends too. But I also recognize it too because I'm like, man, if you're able to create a really cool game with a great user experience and a fun and unique storytelling flow and a strong narrative, man, I mean, it is a game changer. I mean, it could like influence. It has a great influence on the youth, great influence on how we perceive the world and stuff. So I mean, it can go levels deep. So I think that's why I feel like, man, like I think yeah, gaming. Now when I think about it, like man, I can see why gaming is such a freaking powerful narrative, and and just to take it to the blockchain, how you could like make a living out of it, how you could
Mhm.
like expand your global reach. Man, the opportunities are almost endless, especially for you. You're diving in, so I'm sure you're seeing this, right? Like in some form or the other.
Yeah, exactly. Around the sustainable income, I would say one of the crucial thing that is needed is more odds of winning, right? That means more competitions, access to more competitions, right? And to be honest, I'll share one thing that actually triggers me to build in this ecosystem
Please do.
is, yeah, I have been working with 10 plus esports organizations, and these are all very big communities with, I would say, good engagement, right? Right now, we have a distribution of 390K plus gamers. But what I'm trying to do
Wow.
with all these 10 esport communities is they don't make money, right? As an organization, as a community, they don't make money. So right now, mostly the leader who is there, he is earning $200 to $300, and they don't see this as a scalable system, right? And
But
my pure focus, if I can enable them to make the community leaders, enable them to make them at least $2,000 to $3,000 in a month, it's really a big leap for them, and they can choose it as a career. So my pure
true.
focus around 2024, if I'm just focusing on these esports organization and I can enable them to make, let's say, $2,000, right? This is a huge game changer for them, and this will actually create not business not just for them but for us, right? So it's the other way
Yeah.
around I'm seeing. And whenever I see these guys, talking to these guys personally every day in terms of how exactly we can help understanding the industry, I see that there is a huge capacity of growing. Let's say the game, I would say the Web3 games that are out there, they don't literally have an engaging community, right? These guys are having the community. You should exchange the value. That's where we are incentivizing and we are bringing a value out of it, right? Right
Yeah.
now, my triggering point is to enable all these guys make money so that this whole unstructured, fragmented industry can literally be structured through turf.
That's
That's
okay.
why that's what triggers me every single day to work hard and get the things rolling.
No, that's beautiful. No, I because in my mind, I think okay, there are folks that are making money, but that's cream over the top. What you see on these big e-gaming sports competitions and stuff. But from I guess on a much more foundation, there is, I think what I'm understanding, what I'm hearing from you is there is this huge gap and there's a lot of missed opportunities and stuff for people to make a sustainable living. And because I think, yeah, but I think with gaming, I mean, there's a lot of value it brings to society and can also offer new opportunities for people to make a pretty decent income. I think it is a net positive for society, the way I see it. I'm sure there are some haters out there or some people who look at e-gaming or esports as a negative. I don't know, but I disagree with that. But but do you
I'll,
face that kind of stigma or something like?
that stigma used to be there, right? Like
Yeah.
gaming, my children's are playing a lot of games. This is not something that you should be doing going forward. But one
Oh,
interesting thing
yeah.
happened. I was talking to a researcher back in Saudi and Riyadh specifically that she was one of the mothers who was restricting her children to play games, and she's now researching around how exactly competitions can increase the stimulus and playing it in a, let's say if you're playing 10 hours a week, how it can actually increase the stimulus and help all these age group people, the game, and they are basically like college students or the high school students, right? This can actually, gaming and competitions can effectively help you for critical thinking and have a sports mindset, right? That person who is to restrict her children around playing game, she's doing a research around how exactly it is effective for the new age children, right? That's the difference that you can see right now. I would say going forward, literally when people will be used to tell, hey, why don't you see the movie? It's very educative, everything. You will be learning about history. There will be a time when people will be stating like, hey, play this game. You will be living that story. And that's where you will be having more retention in terms of the knowledge or more retention in
Yeah.
terms of the inputs that you're getting that sticks literally maybe more than have lifespan more than a particular movie or something.
No, totally. Because if I recall, there's this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he talked about this sort of
Hmm.
the education system and stuff. But there was this sort of these different levels of education. So one of the best ways for most people to learn is to act, just to make it simple for our conversation, is actually through games, but like playing the games and learning. What do you say through it? You're not just simply just hearing the teacher or just reading a book or something, but you actually like living it out or you're playing this game because it helps create what we said like memory retention, and
Yes.
you also have much more grasp of knowledge. Comprehension skills also elevates pretty high too. Yeah, so there is a lot of benefits too. I think we've seen that with gamers who are also like driving, like playing these driving games, or even the US military too. Other militaries too, they use VR gaming and stuff augmented for training purposes and stuff too, use cases, and some of it can be used on for regular people like us too to level our skills and stuff. Yeah, that's interesting.
Exactly. This is something that's happening. And I'm totally bullish around the specific use case and we're taking it global, right? I won't play with a person in, let's say, Vietnam or let's say in China.
Yeah.
And I would say this is how we are enabling as well as the industry is going forward to unlock the category of this competitive sport. And to be honest, East are now considered into getting it as an international sport. Soon there are few segments of Olympics that are facilitating competitions for like games specifically. And if I'm talking about India, they are setting up, every state does have an East Federation setting up. So
Interesting. Wow, yeah.
that's accessibility I have been seeing in terms of the gaming industry getting adopted. Yeah, it's a pretty cool time.
Awesome. No, it's cool, man. But before you go, like, do you have any insights or do you have any big expectations for the gaming industry, like for Web3, like you foresee?
What I would share this front is the Web3 gaming is really evolving in a very rapid fashion, right? And people are, let's say, the Web2 games that have evolved for nearly 10 to 15 years right now, and they are in a very different stage in terms of their, let's say, in terms of their quality or in terms of their gameplay, right? So this whole Web3 gaming scenario is going to take time and to that same level. It's not just a different category that is getting created, but it's a transition that happens from the Web2 gaming industry to the Web3 scene. Once we see all these big companies adopting the technology in terms of the as a part of the real effort and integrating, let's say, new blockchains, having incentivization schemes or play to earn or compete to earn mechanisms in place. So that's where the industry will be really looking forward. And what I'm really looking forward is the transition happening soon, and it's actually happening. And the faster it happens, the better it is for the mass adoption, because I really value these two things, that gaming industry and the porn industry. These are the two industries that adopts the technology the faster way possible.
True. Yeah, that's historically that's been true. Yeah.
So yeah, counting on it.
Awesome, man. That's cool though. No, I appreciate you taking the time. And you know what? I would love for people to, reach out to you. How can they connect with you? So what would be the best way to reach out to you?
We are available. Our platform is out and live in 0xturf.gg. As well as if you want to reach me out, you can reach me out in Twitter. It's Dibyo. And we are also, the turf is also existed in Twitter as at turf_5. Obviously looking to connect with more games, more sports organizations, and all the blockchain ecosystem, because we are an omni-chain infrastructure which can power every game that would there in any of the blockchains.
Awesome. All right, man. Nicely done, man. Nicely done. So yeah, I guess you know what? So are you currently in Dubai, or do you plan to come to Dubai? What's your situation?
I'll be in Dubai for a while now, and obviously I'm exploring to crack the MENA region in terms of the competitive sports ecosystem. So I'll be there in Dubai for a while before heading back with my team in India.
Okay, cool, awesome. And I was just curious because hopefully with Society X, we plan to have a monthly meetup or something like that. So I don't know, trying to explore some topics and stuff. So if gaming comes in, definitely would love to have you on the hot seat. Let's put it that way, just to get some great conversations and stuff. And I think we need more people like you to talk more about gaming and helping bridge the gap between the Web2 world and the Web3 world, and especially in the gaming side too. And I love the conversation about monetization. That's a pretty hot topic. And engagement, not just acquisition, but just having this sustainable engagement. I don't know if that's the right term, but that'll be kind of really great conversations to have with other people. So yeah, man.
It has been a great conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, sure. Anyways, fam, so you heard right here. So we'll share Dibyo's his socials, all the details in the description below. So anyways, and we thank you for your service to the Web3 space, and glad that you're having a lot of fun with it. And I just love that you have the drive to, create more sustainable income for a lot of the gamers in the space. I think that's a really cool endeavor, and we're really glad to hear that. So fam, we gotta go. So y'all be good, y'all be safe. We will talk to you soon. Bye for now. 1, 2, 3. Bam.
Awesome.
And hold on, all right, cool. Awesome. So we just have to wait for, I guess we'll hopefully wait maybe 5 more minutes or something from your side. So basically it'll download from your browser into the cloud.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, just